Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us for our Facebook Live from Carify Asia. This is definitely exciting time as we going into economic recovery mode, right? And then there's a lot of people looking into cloud, looking into AI. A lot of people ask me, what is AI? So before we jump into the topic of AI, right, which most of you are joining because of this topic, let's do a bit of a quick housekeeping rule, right? I think first of all, that we actually spend a lot of time to prepare the content and then actually talk to Microsoft as well, right, to get some of the information. And some of the information is really very, very new and very advanced. And we can, of course, we can't share all the details, but we're excited to able to guide you through some of the journey as you make some decision for AI. So one request, please be active. Chat box at the chat box there, if you're using mobile, you're using tablet or notebook, right? Ask a lot of questions, right? So if you have just joined us, I don't know how many viewers there, right? And ask my team, how many viewers is there? How many viewers have we joined? Okay, 20. Okay, fantastic. We have 20 viewers joining. Can you type AI in the group chat now to make sure that we know that you are actually joining in and listening on? Continue to be active. Feel free to ask a question, especially on this topic of AI on the edge, which is quite new to some of you. Type AI in the group chat and let us know that you are there. Do turn up your volume so that you can hear us. We will make sure that we're going to keep our session short and sweet because I know some of you are rushing for appointments and meetings and so forth, right? And then for those who are Muslim, right? Muslim, happy Ramadan. We hope you have a nice fasting day today, and then we are definitely joyful in this particular Ramadan period, right? So without further ado, we are going into the topic, and then let me introduce myself, right? Before introducing myself, I think I want to let RK to speak a couple of words. RK, maybe share about what do you do in Carify Asia?
All right, cool. So thanks for this. I think we are really grateful that we have this webinar to share some of the news and everything with our participants, right? So hope you have a great morning to join us here. So my name is Ringkwan, or people just call me RK, right? It's easier. Sometimes when I say RK, people ask what's my full name, so I better introduce both, right? So I am a Cloud Transformation Officer at Carify Asia. What we do, or particularly what I do and my team do, is we research into all the new technology that can help businesses, right? So we started off with hybrid cloud that can help business to have the low latency performance in premises and also hybrid to the cloud. Today, we wanted to evolve more into using AI to help your daily business workflow, right? We have talked to a couple of business owners and stuff like that, especially technology principle as well. So we are excited to share more with you on this.
Yeah, so for me, RK and me are founder of the company. And then for me, is if you can see my titles, I want to create opportunities for you, right? And this is one of the webinar, awareness webinar, where we wanted to see if there's any opportunity for you yourself and for your business, where the AI were able to help your business to grow further, right? Especially after the particular unprecedented pandemic, a lot of businesses are moving forward to go for next step, right? So without further ado, we're going to go into the topic, and then again, feel free to let us know if you have any question. Before we go to the topic, I just want to share what is exactly is AI. Right? A lot of people are a bit confusing the actual definition of AI. So I just want to go through that basic knowledge. AI is a simulation of human intelligence, your brain, right? Your brain, my brain, RK brain, right? To think like human and mimic like their action. So that is called AI, right? Of course, it also can apply to a certain machine that will be able to associate with problem solving. So why it is important and why do many internet articles talk about AI, right? Because AI is where, as we evolve into cloud, as we evolve into the complex society today, right? The processing power that we have today is immense, is a lot. And then it allows the machine, right, or particular AI programming to think like human, basically, not very advanced, right? It cannot replace human definitely, but it allows us to think like human, right? Which is not possible compared with a normal or programming or normal approach, right? Any take on that on AI?
Yeah, exactly. So before AIs, right, we always have softwares and programmings all along the year and all works fine, right? So before the AI, I would say that it is the logics, right, that created the programs. So the logics has certain limitations. That's where we go forward with AI. So the reason AI can solve is that they can mimic human with experience in terms of problem solving, right? So it's not just A or B, but AI will then make a decision based on certain more criteria, based on experience, based on the certain criteria of at that particular point of problem solving things, right? So I think that makes artificial intelligence more human, right, in a sense. But I think there's also a lot of users may think that AI will overtake human. How do we take our jobs? So yeah, we definitely going to go through a few use case example, right, to show that how they enhance the human working behavior in this sense.
Okay. So if you have any question, feel free to type into the chat box. All right, let us know any particular question. My team members here will let me know what question that you have. Right. Let's be more interactive in this particular section. Right. So as we go into the recovery mode from the particular pandemic of 2020, and a lot of countries, including Malaysia, now has a lot of vaccination program, right? And we have seen more innovation in the last 6 months, in the last 6 years. So that's why the topic of AI no longer a jargon, no longer just something that it's good to have. It's not something that is not possible to achieve, right? And by using the power of the cloud, public cloud, hyperscaler cloud, and also on the edge, which we'll be touching today, it is currently possible, right? And then we are going to go through a couple of use cases happening. And then don't talk about overseas, talk about Malaysia, right? I think, okay, for the past couple of weeks, we are so busy with a lot of helping a lot of industry in Malaysia to grow hybrid cloud and also the engagement, right?
Yep.
So what do you see Malaysian industry adapting into AI and also the hybrid cloud, especially from a transformation perspective?
Yeah, exactly. So that's good questions. Just a couple weeks ago when we were planning for this webinar, we were thinking what topic to talk about. As the opportunity comes to us, requests come to us, then we think that this is the right time for Malaysian markets, to understand more what's on the plate for them to choose in terms of solution perspective. So on the market perspective, like what Kevin mentioned, right, we had a couple of requests from Malaysian market itself. So a lot of them surrounds in how the AI can help in their business solving problem today. So obviously the first step, they need the infrastructure that can support that. But infrastructure no longer a traditional infrastructure, but more on a containerized, right, Kubernetes-based solution today. So on top of the Kubernetes, the AI solution can be deployed on the container, right, and enhance the existing solution much more faster in that sense. Yeah.
It is. I think we have more requests on the container and also some of the AI application as well, right?
Correct.
Even though we are not for Qualify Asia, we are not a programming or software house, but we work a lot of ISV come with developing this particular solution. So we are very excited to see that Malaysian customers are adopting, right, in their particular use case, right? So one of the examples that I think that very important examples we see how does the AI can help in the reality today, right? We don't want to talk about something that is very far away, talk something that is very possible, right? And then recently I noticed that Microsoft customers, especially Nonviolent Health, right, in the United States, has been embraced with a very spike of call, thousands of call because of the COVID-19. There's a lot of uncertainty, right, in that particular area, right? So a lot of calls coming in. So what do the Nonviolent Health do, right, in adopting AI for this kind of use case?
Okay, happy to share more, right? So this is a published white paper. So we definitely recommend you to look forward to the white paper. Do type in the chat if you are interested to look at this white paper so we can share you some reference link, right? So Nonviolent Health is basically health education, right, as a hospital in a sense. So they have thousands of calls that are coming in during the spikes of COVID-19 around their area, right? So as a hospital, as a human also, we have a limitation in terms of scale. We can't hire 1,000 people just to take a call on a daily basis, right? So AI could be a very good example used in this scenario, right? So they use the AI to answer some of these queries online, right? By asking what's your symptoms, how do you feel, based on the different criteria of your answer, then structured the next questions to ask, like a doctor with experience, you see. So to get the conclusions of whether this is a possible case of COVID-19 or is just a normal home flu, right? With that, they need a humans to verify the data, the secondary chance. So what does it improve? It not just only reduce the error rate of human because you're tired, especially during COVID-19's outbreak, right? It also improve the experience of the customers as well as streamline the entire process. Yes, we as a human or as a doctor, they still need a secondary verification, but it shortens the time from hours just to down to a minute, and doctor just based on the answers and do a quick verifications on top of that. So that helps in terms of customer experience, the operations of the hospital, right, and also the welfare of the doctor and nurses.
Yeah, I think the other very example is that the natural language processing is also being used in this example, right? Because you see, there will be a lot of time of people coming to the website and say, hey, I'm not feeling well, right? And I have this and that. So how do you able to sound like human and address the concern? Because when people are panicked, you cannot sound like a robot.
Yeah.
If you sound like a very robot, say 1, 2, and 3. Then if people say, no, 1, 2, and 3 also not my symptom. So how? The people will be very panicking. So that's why interaction like AI, response like AI in the natural language processing is actually important in this example, right?
Correct.
But I think on top of that, I think now we are going into a vaccination period, right, in many countries. I believe Nonviolent Health also improve AI and use AI in this scenario. Maybe can you share a bit more? What do Nonviolent do today for that section?
Yeah, so in vaccination perspective, I think there is also a lot of criteria in terms of prioritization, right? And also to choose a suitable candidates based on different source of the vaccinations, right? So a lot of these data is massive data, especially you have hundreds of thousands of citizens in the country, right? So yeah, in this scenario, right, AI can be used to crunch those data and do selection criteria picking, and also to do a scheduling, right? That you can go to their website and do scheduling based on the AI, based on when is it available, and do the, as what Kevin mentioned, natural language processing, right? You can just ask a simple question, I want my second dose vaccination, and the AI will say that, hey, this is the available date, right? Which one you want to choose, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, before we move on to more use cases and also some of the things they want to share, right? I just again want to say hi for those who join us. Thank you for joining us for our Facebook Live today. We are doing a series of collaboration with Microsoft, including the previous one we are talking about 5G. So if you are interested in the IoT and 5G, we have Festival CEO joining us in the previous session together with a Microsoft expert, Mr. Devindra, right, joining us in the particular session. Very interesting session. If you missed that, let us know. We have a video clip, then we can send the clip to you as well. And today we're talking about AI, right? So we are doing this because we really care about you. And then we wanted you to be more equipped with awareness and take some action, right? Whether it could be understanding your business, where to see what you want to do next, and also give you a bit of direction to move forward. So yeah, I just want to ask my team, can you tell me who has joined the Facebook Live? Can you give me some name? I just want to say good morning to these people, right? Yeah. Right. Thanks for, I saw there are a couple of people who are in the chat box, all right? Feel free to ask question, any question you wanted to do, right? And by the way, for those who are thinking, can I put AI chat box in on the edge? Is it possible?
Oh yeah, that's one of our topics that we wanted to touch more, right? So a lot of time AI is happening in the cloud because cloud, especially public cloud, is very scalable. You can start small and grow, especially when the AI require a lot of model training and so on and so forth. But we also realized that some of the AI, the pre-trained model, has to stay with your application itself. For example, for this particular Nonviolent Health, right? Internet, it could be congested during this spike period of time. So they need a lot of processing powers at the edge, right, to do this in a real-time manner, so that your AI can respond to them in a faster response, right? So AI on the edge today is very real. We work with technology principals like Microsoft also to look into this scenario. I think we can share that we are also invited by Microsoft in some of the private preview to bring this technology near to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to share a bit more about that in a couple of sessions. We are looking for a customer who want to do the POC together with Microsoft and us in particular Malaysia, right? You will be a very selected customer to do the POC because the technology has not been released yet. It's a private preview. I just want to thanks team. Thank you for joining. We're Jenny, we have Abel, we have Clement, Eric, and a few others joining. Thank you so much for joining today. I hope you really will learn something from this particular session. Okay, so yeah, so for those who just tune in, thank you for spending the time. Let's go to what can AI should be doing in this particular year of 2021, right? In a business to business today, your business, the companies, again, based on the research, right, the company has realized that B2B, by using the AI to launch new services to evaluate and empower customers, right? We call this as people first. So in your journey as an organization, where you say, hey, how can I leverage on AI technology and the engine, right, to propel my business? This is where people first will be very important. In last year, we noticed that there's a lot of spike, all right, in terms of people first. People first, not only just customers, but also your team member, correct? So we noticed that the businesses are putting a lot of money into staff and also to make sure that the customer experience and customer enhancement, existing customer enhancement is well taken care of, right? So what do you think about this particular high topic of use case for AI?
In the sense of the human, right? So
people first.
Yeah, so an AI perspective, a lot of time, as I mentioned previously, that humans was worried that AI would take over certain jobs and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, putting people first, we together with the technology principal crafted the AI training model, right, is to enhance certain workflow and certain processes of the human, but putting human in charge of the technologies. So with human in charge means to say that you have the guidance and also you have the model that is not overriding certain processes or taking decision that is not beyond the factor or border, right? If you are in charge to train the AI, what is possible and what's not possible for the AI to do, so that you have the boundary in that sense.
Okay, thank you. Any question, team? Any question from team member? Okay, so no question. Don't be shy, right? Don't be shy. Feel free to type the question that you are wondering on AI, or maybe in Malaysia in particularly, right? To say how can you leverage AI in Malaysia, right? Let's go local, because a lot of our webinar that you go is probably talking about global, talking about a certain country. They may not be so relevant to the industry, right? While we may not have answer for all those, we have a very vast ecosystem they were available to help you to move forward, right? So that's why today is a bit of introduction to that. We hope to able. I think we have a question, right? Okay. Yeah. So I think we have a question. Will AI take over our job? I think that's the question that you try to answer.
Yeah, correct.
So maybe give a bit more simpler explanation. Will AI take our job?
Okay, maybe just a recap, right? So will AI take over our job? The quick answer is no, right? What it helps you is enhance your daily operation workflow so that you can focus more on what is making it more efficient, while to do a lot more innovations and to do a lot more improvement of the processing whereas the AI can help you on some of the repetitive tasks.
Correct. Repetitive tasks is where the things come in, right? So for example, in the example of Nonviolent, where repetitive tasks, people keep asking the same question about the symptom, right? Where is my next vaccination? Those can be easily done by AI, right? And then the AI will continue to learn more how to better respond and based on the data that they have, right? So it doesn't replace human, and then human will always evolve because human, as you know, we are getting smarter and smarter, right? And then we become able to evolve our job level and so forth. So it doesn't replace human, right? So I think if you watch too many science fiction, that is not so true, right? So we are going a bit more deeper when we put the people first, right? So we're going to spend a bit more time to talk about the AI use case, especially from a Microsoft angle, right? Where the AI on the edge, right? So specifically today, we're talking about AI on the edge here, and the use case they will be available, right? I think we got a couple of industry. We got a manufacturing industry, we got the retail industry, and also we have a smart building industry, right? So Arcade, can you share some of those use cases in this particular example?
Yeah, happy to, right? So AI use case is very wide. Before I go on why our title today is AI on the edge, right? Just to recap, the AI has always been in the cloud for a long time and it has been successful. So today's particular topic is AI on the edge. I want to use a couple of examples and share why do we need it on the edge. So we started talking to a local business owner, right, in manufacturing industry, right? One of it is actually doing balancing of a turbine, if you heard of it. So I asked them, hey, you are doing manufacturing, right? What do you think the AI can enhance? At the get-go, no surprising, he tell me, I don't think it helps, right? So as we had the more discussions and I share with him what the AI does and so on and so forth, right? So he started thinking, within 2 minutes, he can give me an answer. I think it had helped a lot in terms of processing. So he told me that a lot of the time AI can be used to do a pre-failure detection, right? So what does the pre-failure detection is that sense that we can use a very simple camera, IP camera, right? That you doesn't need to have AI in the camera. Source the feed of the camera into our AI on the edge. We can do the local processing using graphic cards or GPU in the sense to detect that whether anything that is out of anomalies, right? Whether the machine is shaking too much, or the humans are getting too near to it, or maybe to detect a worker safety or the product defect. So all these can be done directly on the factory itself. So why on the edge and not in the cloud? But imagine that if you have IP camera that source a HD video feed directly, you require to have the bandwidth to send it to the cloud, do the training there, and do the detection to you. But failure happens within seconds. You do not have the time for you to leverage your bandwidth to send it to the cloud. So that was the reason why we bring the technology to the edge for you to do the processing in the factory floor itself, right? So some of the example, I talked to manufacturing plant also, they want to use it to enhance their old machine, traditional machine workflow. So the traditional machine today, they are just punching the metal and produce the things and so on and so forth, right? There's no data for the business to make decision on. What is failure rate today? Whether there's any defective product? What is the serial number for each of the batch based on the time and so on and so forth? So they did not have this data and make them very hard in terms of inventory control. So they wanted to use AI thinking in a sense that, say, use the camera to take it at the production line, right? Based on the input of your production scheduling, they know this product is the model of the product, right? We can use the camera to see whether the produced product is fit to the same spec of what they're expecting to produce. So in that sense, they know that the machine is produced based on what they want. They can do the calculation of the product they produce, and they keep track of where the product keep in which box, and these boxes are shipped, tracking to which rack that they keep, right? So all this series, it's all the AI use case based on just normal camera, right? We understand, we train the model to read your workflow and enhance in that sense, right?
Yeah. So I think we have a question from Mr. Iba. Iba, good morning. Thank you. Actually, you just answered his question. He talked about why we cannot use AI just on the public cloud, why you want to go for edge, right? So
Yeah.
there you go, the latency, the bandwidth is very important, right? And also there's a lot of area where the connectivity may not be so good, where you do not want to have a high loop to go to public cloud processing and coming back, right? So you needed certain processing on the edge, right? And today, the processors and also the capability, and especially upcoming Microsoft technology allow you to do that. Later on, Aki will share a little bit about the Microsoft technology and how we're able to help now, right?
Yeah.
So, Aki, how about retail industry? Because you see, I was a bit surprised in Malaysia we have a CMCO, but the shopping mall was so crowded.
Exactly.
I was so surprised. I thought, is it everybody has been vaccinated, or am I the one left behind? Or why everyone is rushing out to a shopping mall, right? And then some people say it's actually revengeful shopping.
Agreed.
Right? But how do AI in this use case help those retail segments?
Yeah, so for retail segment, as you can see from the slides earlier, that we have a couple of use case in that sense, right? First of all, we have customer identification. So imagine that when the customer comes to your retail shop, maybe get them to scan a QR code that to identify it's you, then they can pull all the database to give you the customized experience, right? At the same time, you can track them where do they go, which hours they spend on, and how long they spend on each house, right? Where exactly they were from. Of course, all these data are anonymized, right? Just to protect the privacy and so on and so forth. But you have the data of understanding your customers, right? So touch wood, in case there is anything happens, maybe one of the customer was a potential cases, right? That's where you can track and whether that has infected with other people. So not just that, based on the camera feed, they can also track whether the customers have close contacts with the other customers. So based on the heat, right? So we can track the skeleton of the human. So based on the heat, we can measure hip to hip length between your customers, right? So that give you a good data as well in terms of safety and so on and so forth. To make it a better one, you can have a camera that take a photo or take a video feed of your rack and to understand that how many products is available, or even to tell customers, right, based on their spending behavior, they have used this product, they have bought this product last month, and based on the estimated consumption, they probably need it this time they come to the trips to the shop as well.
So another example is that in a retail shop where the mask, putting on mask may not be something that is needed, right? Or maybe something that is not unavoidable. Also, you cannot put mask. For example, you go to karaoke, maybe you go to certain sports area, right? You can't wear mask. For example, you go to hiking, you can't wear mask, or maybe a sports center, you can't wear mask because it will interrupt your breathing, right? So that's why the customer identification, whether the customer has been vaccinated or what is the customer record, right, connected to a certain database, that will be very helpful in making that kind of decision, right? For example, including social distancing and so forth. Maybe you want to know that whether the people is wearing masks in the particular area or not, then you can do some alert, stuff like that, right? So that is also something that will be very useful, right? Because as we are coming to economic recovery, there will be a lot of mixed use case between people who is vaccinated and people who is not. And of course, we always talk about the mask, right? And how do you able to identify a human if they are wearing a mask, and in Malaysia, if you're wearing a tudung as well, right? How to identify people wearing a tudung and a mask? By using certain AI algorithm, it is possible today, right? Which will be able to even measure people on a high estimate weight and so forth, right? And stuff like that. So it is possible, right? Before we go to the use case number 2, we have one question from Clement. Do I need to increase my infra capacity, such as power processing and storage, in order to adopt AI?
Yep, that's a good question. So the good thing is that the AI on the edge are quite interesting today, and is picking up a lot of interest. The reason because we have AMD in the market. So AMD has been pumping up the competitions of the race for performance, right? So we are able to get high performance infrastructure today in the premises without going through the public cloud. All right.
Mm.
So that also goes to the GPU processing as well. So from gamers on the chat, if you could notice, right, a couple of years back, your 1080 Ti maybe, right? Today, the 3080 Ti is maybe 2 or 3 times more performance on the same performance card. So that is what we get today. We can downsize the infrastructure to 2 or 3 nodes with graphic cards inside and have enough processing power to capture and do AI trainings on the edge itself. Yeah, great that we doesn't need to have like a full racks of servers just to run that.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so just capture on time, right? I think the other one use case which is quite common in Malaysia would be smart building, right? Again, the way we iterate is become a new normal. And the new normal has been defined by regulation, by the particular premises every day, right? So smart building, especially offices, especially even a condo, right, or even certain public places, the AI use case may be more relevant today. Based on the use case here, right, can you share some of those examples for smart building?
Yeah, you'll be surprised. So one of our customers actually contacted us early last year itself, right, to already start looking into security surveillance for their building and mostly on access control. So one of the condo they wanted to implement based on CCTV feed to recognize human face and then give access into the condo, right, based on the human face and also the fingerprint and so on and so forth. So all this is some form of the early AI, right? It wasn't, it may not be so advanced in terms of, one whole series of tracking, but a simple form of, face recognition and then to understand where does the person stay, bring the lift to the ground floor for them to take the floors and so on and so forth. So that is one early example that we have in Malaysia and it's already implemented with a certain solution on that as well. So it's cool to know that.
Yeah, so I think you also can do voice recognition for lift, right?
Yeah,
because now we want to reduce touching the
Touchless.
lift, right? So some lift say, oh, you need to use a knuckle. Some use what
By the tools, just
yeah, by the tool or this what you call it, the mouth pick, toothpick, right? So I was wondering, wow, so creative, right? But I think that by adopting AI on the edge, you actually can do voice recognition, right? Instead of using access card or using toothpick to go up and down, right? I think that is even more secure. And today, if you guys are using a Citibank credit card, you already know that Citibank credit card do not longer for you to key in your PIN to access the customer service, but you use your voice recognition, right? Those are also some of the examples in the FSI industry, which also can be translated to a smart building.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So feel free to put in more questions. We have a couple of more questions here, but do feel in to few more questions as we go through the use cases.
Perhaps based on your industry, you probably have something could be done or thinking whatnot. You can put in the chat to share with us, or you can ping us along the way as well.
Okay. So let's talk a bit about Microsoft, right? This particular session is sponsored by Microsoft and Rhipe. Again, thank you to the sponsor, Microsoft and Rhipe. We are a proud partner of Microsoft hybrid cloud platform system, and we have been ongoing for a couple of years now. And then we saw that Microsoft is forefront in terms of hybrid cloud, in terms of AI on the edge, right? Compared with other giants. And based on the upcoming technology, we noticed that they can actually do a couple of stuff from as a human, right? As a human perspective. So let's remember that AI refers to mimicking human intelligence, right? And one of the questions from Nia is that can AI compete with human intelligence? So based on this technology in this particular screen, can you share with the audience here, right? How can the technology specifically, what can they do and can they compete with human?
Yeah, so as you all understand, as compute power increasing, right? In certain area, for example, mathematics, right? Compute is way miles better than human. Even don't talk about AI, right? Our computer and even calculator can count whatever calculations or whatever mathematics you throw at them. much better than what human does today. So but in that sense, I wouldn't say compute power has overtaken human. Humans are always evolving in terms of innovations and also new ways of getting things done. But compute power is basically mimicking our footsteps, right? How they can get things more efficient, more systematics. Computer is still computer. They have to follow 1 and 0. So they can help in terms of organizing tasks, right? But human of all we are, great. So we are always, taking the next step to evolve.
Yeah, I think my baby is learning so fast now. Compared with our younger days. My mother said,
Yeah.
Baby now is become smarter. Don't know whether it's a milk powder or the thing we eat or environment or is it the gadget, right?
Exactly. I always thought it's a milk powder, but now it could be different. It's human evolving.
Yeah. So as we continue to be better, right? So I think human continue to be smarter, and that's the reason why we created AI, not to replace human, not to compete with us, but to help us as assistant
to move forward
faster, right? And I think some of the example, one thing that I love would be Google Assistant, right? And Google Assistant in Malaysia today can actually call the cafe that I wanted directly through a voice recognition, natural language, and then bear in mind my voice is big soft, and then I have a Malaysian English, right? And then Google Assistant, it's all the way from US, but it can recognize my voice and call the cafe that I wanted, right? So how about some of the technology from Azure on the Edge?
Yep. So the Azure on the Edge technologies are quite a few scenarios. So as you heard, all the use case we talked about just now, right, is basically giving the AI and eyes and ears, right, to understand what's happening surrounding. So with the eyes, they knows what is happening from the vision. So based on the vision, they can do plate recognitions, they can do human tracking, right? They can do inventory controls and even train based on what they see, based on the data sheets, whether this is the correct thing that they wanted to see, right? So that is the vision perspective. In terms of hearing perspective, they can also understand based on the natural language processing, what you actually tell them to do, what commands you are giving them, and what you're trying to achieve, and so on and so forth. So some of these, it's not new, right? It always been trained in the cloud, and the technology get in the point is quite mature today. So we are able to bring it down to the edge for more of the customers to enjoy. So one of these example, maybe if you could see, right, from the slide, is how we train the human tracking between a large area. So by just using one single camera feed, you can track multiple human concurrently, right? That much of processing power, as well as whether there's any human that is not doing social distancing as well.
Right. So this particular algorithm can be further evolved based on your business use case, right? Remember face recognition, right? So from this particular social distancing, how do you know if these two people are related? Right? They are family. Takkan, let's say me and my wife say, hey, please, 1 meter apart, my wife gonna kill me, right? I hope my wife is not joining this, right? Say, hey, shopping mall, then my wife, hey, 1 meter social distancing. And then the thing, so there's a lot of use case here where in your particular business, right, where the facial recognition and also social distancing example to further enhance that particular tracking, right? I think we got one more question, all right? Okay, so one question from Clement: if I'm interested in AI adoption, how do I start? Very good question.
All right, cool. So as you probably heard, we are working with Microsoft on this particular webinar as well as collaboration of the technology. So we got invited in some of the exclusive private preview of this AI on the Edge program. So a lot of it is still under NDA, but we are more than interested to talk to each and every one of you, right? Whether there's any use case we can collaborate together. The good thing is that this will be involved directly with Microsoft product group people. So it will be very interesting to see how we can implement all these to help your business operation as well.
Yeah, so for those who are not familiar, Microsoft Product Group is refers to engineering team.
Right.
The expert of the expert, right? It's not the normal salespeople that you see come and want to sell you Azure Cloud or which is fine. Those are people are really interested in your business use case, right? And same goes with us. in this particular POC, we can develop a certain algorithm, right, to put in appliances and to put in the two particular engine here. One is ear and one is eye, right, to tap into your visual feed and even a hearing or maybe even voice recognition and so forth to do the use case for you, right? Because of the NDA, we cannot share the details of the architecture, but we can tell you that it is available today, and it has not been released yet, and then we would love to work together with you. So how do you start? I think the first thing that we learned today is people, right? Look into a people requirement, whether it could be an internal team member or it could be this particular external customer. So for the people that you have identified the segment, then you can drive into to say, okay, what I want to achieve, what can be done, which is a repetitive task that can be done more accurately by machine. And we're able to improve whether it could be a customer experience or whether it could be improve safety, for example, quite important, right? Safety, for example, and so forth, right? It could be even like construction and auto stuff. So there are many use cases that may be relevant in your particular sector, right? We are not the expert of your industry, but definitely we would love to hear how can AI help you to move further. Anything you want to add on, Aki?
I think, yeah, that is the key takeaway, right? For all these things. So there's a lot of procedures to sidetrack a little bit. There is maybe robotic, automation and so on and so forth. But yeah, we have a whole range of different solutions as well. So probably whatever business challenges or business improvement that you want to have, you can talk to us. Then we can see whether AI or any other solution that can help us.
Yeah, right. So for those who are just joining in, thank you again for joining for this particular topic, Facebook and Live. And if you have not liked our Facebook, please click the like now. Okay, and follow us. It's very important as we share more and more latest technology that related to Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
Again, the difference with us with other communities is that we want to be more relevant in your industry, and we invite expert, right? We invite multiple CEO, we invite expert of the expert industry to come and talk to us, and then also share about the sharing. That is very relevant to Southeast Asia and also Malaysia, right? That is more close to you, and also that for those who are joining us, you can actually get a Harvard business white paper. Right, and please, we want to hear more from you. Please go and scan, and we're going to send to you a Harvard white paper. This has just been released a couple of days ago, so it's fresh from oven. The way forward of digital transformation illustrated by a pandemic. This is the latest, fresh from oven, a couple of days ago white paper, which we want to give to you by getting to know you a bit more better. So if you have not followed us on Facebook, please do it now, right? Because we have so many things upcoming line up, and also we want to hear from you as well, right? So okay, so while they are doing the survey and while they are so eager to get on the Harvard white paper, right? Is there any other funny AI that you see that you think is coming? I heard you are driving a Proton, right? I don't know, does it consider that as AI where it can detect, or maybe a smart driving? Is that AI?
I think I wouldn't consider it as an AI, but it definitely had the experience of having an AI in the car, right? So yesterday I was taking photo of my baby at the back seat, right, through the rear view camera. So my friend was commenting, hey, your car got level 2 autonomous. It can even drive itself on the bend, on the straight and stuff like that. So that is some form, it's not exactly AI, but there's some form of what AI could help, right? Imagine that it could help you in your daily task. Such a complex things. Some of us before 18, we don't get a license. We think driving could be a difficult task. But now that there is compute power that can help us to do all the decisions, right? Keep in the lane, follow the car in front, turn a little bit here and there on the bend. So it's quite fun in that sense. So let's kick it out a notch. If you heard that Tesla has launched their FSD, full self-driving, a couple months back, right? That definitely had some AI inside. So they need to analyze the light, right? They even need to see the cone on the road. How do they need to mitigate the obstacles on the road and so on and so forth? So we are definitely excited to just have that little things coming into our life and help us along the way.
So that is some of those examples on the edge. Some could be yes, some could be no, but definitely the market is moving very fast on the use case, right? Let us know any particular AI on the edge that you are seeing today or that is helping you on a day-to-day basis. Let us know, put in a group chat, right? For me, the other AI that I think that is helping me today is actually Calendar.Health. I'm not sure if you know that Calendar.Health is actually powered by Microsoft Azure AI, which is actually also from Microsoft as well. It allows you to do natural language processing to do your calendar scheduling, right? So just go to Calendar.Health, right? Go and sign up. It has been released a couple of years back. It has a lot of enhancement. So what you need to do is you actually have a secretary to do the scheduling between you and external party to find the right timing slot. You even can put to say when you want to avoid the lunch, or maybe it's a particular time you want to avoid. If you want to do online meeting, or you want to do face-to-face meeting and so forth, right? Or you want to do recurring meeting. For example, like recently I was sitting for a recurring meeting for a review. And then it will actually allow every month automatically to ask the particular external audience to say, the time has come when you want to schedule for the meeting. That is also one of the AI that I use day-to-day basis.
And the key takeaway is you type it as you are emailing to another human or your secretary. It doesn't even need to specific and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So a lot of scheduling, right? You have to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You have to go to the website, you have to click 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is I call as more programming, not really on AI. AI is where you're able to understand human language, for example, processing, and able to better understand your behavior, right? And once you do the machine learning, you will get to know you a little bit better, right? Any other AI that you think that you are using on day-to-day basis?
I don't think there is any particular AI, but it's more on the scheduling that I had. Recently, I moved house also, so I'm trying to inject some of these home assistants into my home, understand my schedule, so do a bit of changes. Sometimes my home assistant just pop out and say that, hey, you usually do this, do you want to do it now? So I see that there's some form of AI that's coming into my life, right? Getting more connected, of course, under my control, right? So then they will know my schedule and my patterns of life and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think IT and technology has embedded in our life today, day-to-day life, right? Please, before you go, please do the survey, and then we want to send you a Harvard white paper, which is just released a couple of days ago, right? So if you're in a business today, or you are even in IT today, right, you are wondering how can the digital transformation move forward after the pandemic, and what kind of use cases? And one of the use cases that we gotten from this particular white paper is healthcare, right, which we shared earlier on, right? And so the time is coming close to the end. We want to summarize again. First of all, thank you. Thanks to Rhipe, thanks to Microsoft for particular sponsorship. And we just want to conclude that AI on the edge, first of all, is possible today, right? And then we have a private preview engine that is eye and ear on-prem to do certain use cases, right? And some of the use cases that you want to do will be people first, right? I think some of the examples shared by RK. People first example will be something that you want to look into when you do the AI, right? And Microsoft, together with the team here, all the way from product group, is very key to look into a use case to do a POC with you. So do contact us via Facebook Messenger, or you can go to our website, Clarify.Asia, to contact us if you are very keen to participate in this POC. All right. Any last word, Aki?
I think that's good. So don't want to drag too much of the time. Have a good day ahead. So glad to talk to you.
Yeah. So AI is possible, and Clarify Asia, we are cloud consultant that want to help you to improve your business and increase your business growth through Cloud Native Foundation, right? And then we are partnering with Rhipe and Microsoft to enable you on that. And today we are talking about AI on the edge, right? And then we have more and more upcoming webinar, more and more interesting topic they will be sharing. That is close to our home, right, in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. And also, please like our Facebook and please follow us so that you won't miss out on those fantastic Facebook Live webinar. Thank you.
All right.
I think that's all today. Stay safe. Have a nice day. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.